In medieval Europe, kingdoms arose across vast regions, nestled between mountains, rivers, and thick forests. Kings and lords established towering stone castles, fortified with thick walls to protect against both human and natural threats. Inside these castles, royal halls displayed opulent decorations, while storage rooms held precious treasures, weapons, and supplies necessary for long sieges. Surrounding the castles, villages and marketplaces thrived, providing centers for trade, agriculture, and community life. Timber and clay formed the rooftops of houses, while streets were paved with cobblestones or packed earth. Knights, adorned in shining helmets and colorful tunics, carried swords, shields, and lances, ready for tournaments or battle. Daily life included hunting in forests, attending festivals, and participating in royal ceremonies, each event showcasing power, wealth, and cultural tradition. Sunlight cast golden highlights across the stone walls, while flags and banners fluttered in the gentle breeze. Farmers toiled in fields, tending crops with skill and diligence, while merchants transported goods like metals, textiles, and food to bustling markets. Craftsmen worked tirelessly, forging tools, weapons, and household items, demonstrating remarkable artistry and precision. Children played in narrow streets, weaving between roaming animals while townspeople engaged in daily routines. Temples and chapels offered places for worship, reflection, and community gatherings, providing spiritual guidance to the townspeople. Lords collected taxes and enacted laws, influencing every aspect of the lives of their subjects. The sound of merchants trading, horses clattering on cobblestones, and the laughter of children filled the air. Conflict between kingdoms was common, often erupting into devastating wars that reshaped territories and populations. Knights charged on horseback into battle, wielding swords, axes, and lances, clashing against rival forces with intense ferocity. Archers positioned on castle walls fired arrows with precision, while soldiers engaged in fierce hand-to-hand combat below. Smoke, dust, and the cries of warriors enveloped the battlefield, creating an atmosphere of chaos and urgency. Castles and towns were sometimes destroyed by fire, floods, or internal uprisings, leaving behind remnants of past glory. Broken walls, abandoned streets, and shattered gates told silent stories of kingdoms lost to time and circumstance. Hidden treasures, secret tunnels, and ancient artifacts remained buried beneath ruins, waiting for discovery by future generations. Legends spoke of brave knights, wise rulers, and mysterious lands lying beyond known borders. Knights participated in tournaments, hunts, and quests, testing their skill, courage, and honor. Tales of love, chivalry, and adventure were passed down through generations, inspiring awe, reverence, and aspiration. Young squires trained diligently, learning to wield weapons, care for horses, and uphold the code of chivalry. Royal courts held grand banquets, dances, and ceremonies, displaying wealth, power, and influence across the realm. Many kingdoms fell to war, famine, or disease, leaving behind ruins, memories, and fragments of history. Rivers flooded once thriving villages, fires consumed homes, and invading armies plundered wealth, altering the course of entire regions. Yet, the stories of bravery, wisdom, and loyalty persisted, living on in songs, tales, and oral histories. The lives of peasants, merchants, knights, and rulers alike contributed to the rich tapestry of medieval history. From the grandeur of fortified castles to the simplicity of village life, every detail mattered in shaping society. The struggles, triumphs, and mysteries of the medieval world created a layered and complex human experience. Exploring Lost Kingdoms reveals lessons about resilience, ambition, and the consequences of conflict. Each ruined wall, artifact, and faded mural tells a story waiting to be uncovered and understood. Medieval life was a balance of fear and hope, danger and celebration, hardship and festivity. Kings ruled with authority, knights protected their realms, and ordinary people carried on, sustaining communities despite challenges. Festivals brought joy, markets supplied necessities, and castles symbolized power and protection. Warriors trained endlessly, preparing for battles that could decide the fate of kingdoms and alter history. Disease and famine often struck without warning, challenging the survival of towns and villages alike. Yet human ingenuity, courage, and cooperation enabled civilizations to endure and flourish. Many medieval kingdoms vanished entirely, leaving behind ruins, artifacts, and stories preserved only in chronicles. Scholars and historians continue to piece together these secrets, revealing hidden truths about past civilizations. Knights' tales of courage, kings' decisions, and the resilience of ordinary people illustrate the depth and richness of history. Forgotten treasures and secret passages hint at adventures and mysteries yet to be imagined. Life in the medieval era was far from simple, marked by complex hierarchies, loyalties, and rivalries. Every individual, from peasant to monarch, played a vital role in shaping events that unfolded across kingdoms. The medieval world, though centuries past, continues to captivate imagination and curiosity. Its stories of love, war, mystery, and survival offer endless inspiration for learning, reflection, and creative exploration. The architecture of castles, the clothing of nobles and peasants, and the tools of craftsmen all reflected societal priorities and technological advancement. Even minor details, from market stalls to religious icons, contributed to the texture of everyday life. Knights practiced the code of chivalry, pledging loyalty, courage, and honor, while nobles negotiated alliances and marriages to strengthen power. Villagers maintained fields, livestock, and workshops, ensuring the survival and prosperity of the community. Warfare shaped borders, populations, and culture, leaving a lasting imprint on the medieval landscape. Armies traveled long distances, engaging in battles that determined the fate of entire regions. Fires, floods, and disease sometimes destroyed what took decades to build, testing resilience and prompting adaptation. Survivors rebuilt towns, repaired walls, and carried forward traditions despite the challenges faced. Trade flourished in marketplaces, connecting distant towns and kingdoms with goods, knowledge, and ideas. Merchants transported textiles, spices, metals, and food, facilitating economic and cultural exchange across regions. Craftsmen honed skills over years, producing tools, weapons, and art that reflected both utility and beauty. Artisans, blacksmiths, and carpenters contributed to the daily functioning and aesthetic richness of towns. Religion played a central role, with temples, chapels, and monasteries providing spiritual guidance and communal cohesion. Festivals, pilgrimages, and ceremonies punctuated the year, bringing communities together and reinforcing shared values. Even in times of peace, knights trained rigorously, maintaining readiness for sudden conflict or personal duels. Skills in swordsmanship, archery, horsemanship, and strategy were essential for survival and reputation. Many medieval kingdoms eventually fell, leaving ruins that became the subject of legend and curiosity. Scholars, adventurers, and storytellers preserved their memories, ensuring that history and myths endured through centuries. The early morning mist hung low over medieval villages, curling around rooftops and cobblestone streets. Smoke rose from chimneys as villagers began their daily routines, preparing food, tending livestock, and opening market stalls. Children ran through narrow alleyways, chasing small animals or playing with simple wooden toys. Dogs and goats roamed freely, adding to the lively atmosphere of everyday life. In the castle courtyards, knights trained rigorously, their swords clashing with metallic echoes. Horses snorted and pawed at the ground, awaiting commands from squires and trainers. Lords and ladies discussed political matters, forming alliances or negotiating marriages to strengthen power. Ambassadors and messengers traveled from distant kingdoms, bearing news, gifts, or demands. The markets were crowded, filled with merchants calling out prices for textiles, spices, and metalware. Artisans demonstrated their craftsmanship, hammering, carving, or weaving items to sell to nobles and villagers alike. Festivals were a frequent occurrence, celebrating harvests, religious events, or royal anniversaries. Minstrels played instruments, jugglers performed tricks, and dancers twirled in colorful clothing. Knights embarked on quests, traveling across forests, rivers, and mountains, searching for honor, adventure, or treasures. Tales of these quests were told in inns, inspiring young squires and villagers alike. Siege engines stood ready along castle walls, prepared for battles against invading forces. Archers practiced aiming at targets, their arrows whistling through the crisp morning air. Some villages thrived under trade routes, while others struggled in remote regions, isolated from the bustle of commerce. Roads were lined with inns, stables, and way stations, providing shelter and sustenance for travelers. Religious life structured the medieval calendar, with monks and priests performing daily rituals and offering guidance. Cathedrals and chapels towered over towns, their spires visible for miles, symbolizing faith and devotion. Nobles hunted deer, boar, or birds in expansive forests, displaying skill, strength, and prestige. Such hunts were both entertainment and preparation for warfare, teaching tracking, stealth, and archery. Blacksmiths worked tirelessly, forging swords, armor, and tools from glowing metal. Their forges glowed with heat, sending sparks into the air, accompanied by the rhythmic clang of hammers on anvils. Castle kitchens prepared lavish feasts for lords, ladies, and visiting dignitaries. The aroma of roasted meats, fresh bread, and sweet pastries filled the halls during celebrations and feasts. Some kingdoms faced internal strife, with rebellious nobles or peasants challenging authority. Armies marched to quell uprisings, while spies and advisors gathered intelligence on potential threats. Floods and droughts occasionally threatened villages, forcing communities to adapt or relocate. Wells, aqueducts, and irrigation systems were vital for survival, showcasing medieval engineering skills. Traveling performers spread news, stories, and entertainment from town to town. Minstrels, jugglers, and storytellers provided both information and amusement for peasants and nobles alike. The knightly code emphasized honor, loyalty, and courage, shaping the behavior of warriors in both battle and society. Young squires studied diligently, aspiring to achieve the same renown as their mentors. Royal courts maintained elaborate etiquette, with ceremonies, dances, and strategic discussions shaping politics. Diplomacy, flattery, and intrigue were all part of maintaining influence and favor within these courts. Armies used longbows, crossbows, and catapults to defend or conquer territories. Siege warfare demanded careful planning, resourcefulness, and unrelenting determination. Some regions prospered due to fertile soil, trade routes, or strong leadership. Others fell to mismanagement, war, or disease, becoming cautionary tales for future generations. Legends of hidden treasures, secret passages, and mystical relics captured the imaginations of villagers and nobles alike. Maps were drawn, riddles deciphered, and brave souls ventured into unknown lands seeking fortune and glory. Festivals combined religious devotion with social interaction, featuring music, dance, and theatrical performances. Markets thrived during these events, with merchants selling exotic goods from distant kingdoms. Knights trained in jousting, swordsmanship, and horsemanship, competing to demonstrate skill and bravery. Spectators cheered, while nobles judged performance and rewarded excellence with titles, gifts, or recognition. Many castles included hidden rooms, dungeons, and escape tunnels for emergencies or clandestine meetings. Legends whispered of secret treasures and ancient artifacts concealed within these structures. Daily life varied greatly between social classes, with peasants working tirelessly while nobles enjoyed relative leisure. Yet, both classes contributed to the survival, culture, and growth of their communities. Rivers, forests, and mountains provided both resources and challenges, shaping trade, travel, and warfare. Ferries, bridges, and mountain passes enabled connectivity, while bandits and natural hazards threatened safety. Religious festivals reinforced societal values, marking key events such as harvests, holy days, and royal ceremonies. Monks and priests documented history, copying manuscripts, and preserving knowledge for future generations. Knights' armor and weapons evolved with time, adapting to new challenges on and off the battlefield. Helmets, shields, swords, and chainmail reflected both technology and personal prestige. Education was often limited to nobles, clergy, and select apprentices, but knowledge spread through oral tradition and manuscripts. Scribes, scholars, and storytellers ensured that history, legends, and laws were passed down accurately. Villagers worked cooperatively to harvest crops, repair buildings, and maintain infrastructure. Their labor ensured the survival of communities despite the constant threats of famine, disease, or invasion. Trade fairs attracted merchants from distant lands, bringing rare spices, textiles, and precious metals. Interaction at these fairs fostered cultural exchange, alliances, and new opportunities for growth. Many knights embarked on pilgrimages, blending religious devotion with the pursuit of honor. Such journeys often exposed them to foreign lands, peoples, and practices, broadening their worldview. Siege warfare tested strategy, endurance, and resource management, with defenders and attackers employing innovative techniques. Catapults, battering rams, and fortified walls all played a crucial role in medieval combat. Stories of bravery, wisdom, and loyalty inspired future generations, leaving a lasting impression on medieval culture. These tales reinforced values, encouraged ambition, and immortalized heroic deeds. Some kingdoms vanished entirely, leaving only ruins, artifacts, and stories preserved in chronicles. Future scholars piece together these fragments, uncovering hidden truths about societies long gone. Villages were lively, with merchants, craftsmen, and farmers performing essential roles in sustaining communities. Streets were filled with activity, sounds of hammers, carts, and conversations creating a vibrant atmosphere. Nobles and royals held banquets, tournaments, and dances, displaying power, wealth, and cultural refinement. These events also reinforced social hierarchies and facilitated political alliances. Knights patrolled roads, protected villages, and enforced laws, while their presence instilled a sense of security. Armor-clad warriors rode horses, swords at their sides ready to defend or engage in battle when necessary. Rivers powered mills, provided water for crops, and served as trade routes linking villages and towns. Boats and ferries carried goods and passengers, while bridges connected distant communities. Hidden treasures, ancient artifacts, and mystical relics continued to intrigue adventurers and scholars alike. Legends spoke of bravery, magic, and lost knowledge waiting to be rediscovered.
In medieval Europe,
Castles stood as symbols of power for kings and lords. Their authority, justice, and governance shaped the stability of the realm and the lives of those within. Inside the castles, treasures and armory showcased wealth and influence, while bustling marketplaces outside revealed the daily lives of commoners. The interdependence between rulers and citizens defined the kingdom. Farmers tended the fields, craftsmen honed their skills, and children played along cobblestone streets. Life in the villages thrived under the shadow of the imposing fortresses above. Knights trained rigorously in the castle courtyards, mastering swords and bows, while squires assisted and observed. Every movement prepared them for the battles that could define the fate of kingdoms. Festivals brought together villagers and nobles, music and dance filling the streets. These celebrations were a blend of joy, religious devotion, and social connection. Armies clashed on open fields and against fortress walls, testing courage, strategy, and endurance. The dust, noise, and chaos painted a vivid picture of medieval warfare. Lords administered justice and collected taxes, ensuring the kingdom's laws were upheld. Their decisions had profound effects on both the rich and the common people alike. Plagues, famines, and fires could devastate towns, yet communities always sought to rebuild and preserve traditions. Human resilience was the backbone of medieval survival. Secret chambers and hidden treasures inspired tales of courage and exploration. Scholars and adventurers uncovered these mysteries, connecting past legends with the present. From towering castles to bustling villages, knights, rulers, and ordinary people together shaped the medieval world. Their struggles, triumphs, and traditions continue to inspire our understanding of history.